Say what?
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. This is episode 547. Guys, we are 3 episodes away from 550. That's a huge accomplishment for any podcast, much less one about wrestling, that a lot of people just think kind of a joke. Let's be honest. The people, when you mention wrestling, they're like, oh, well, it's just kind of anyway. We'll get away from that. So tonight we have a special guest called the Falcon, Mr. Bailey Dynamite. But to start the show off, I'm going to add my co-host, Miss Susie Hoff, to the stage. Let's get this thing rolling. Miss Susie, how you doing? Yeah, there she is. You doing all right, Miss Susie?
I think I'm doing all right tonight. I think I'm doing okay. So, hello, Wrestle Talk Podcast fam. How are y'all? Good to see you tonight. We have a great guest who's already back in the green room. So, let's just get this thing going. As we always do, we want to thank our sponsors, and one of them just happens to be my co-host tonight. So, um, Will, if we
All right,
can find
I got you. Wrestle Talk Podcast would like to thank all of our
here
great
the
sponsors.
grip going there.
Retro Dream Production, the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, Doomed Outfitters owned by yours truly, World Domination Wrestling Alliance, and the FWWC, the world premier fantasy wrestling group. Guys, these are our great sponsors. Without these guys, we would not be able to do what we're doing, especially not for 547 episodes, almost 550. So, huge shout out to our sponsors. Thank every one of them for doing what you do. All right. Now, Susie, speaking of
Definitely, definitely. You know, eh,
550, what's your thoughts on that? This is like almost
I know, right?
550.
550.
Man, that's wild.
Yeah, and I was a little worried when we got to 500 because it looked like 500 was going to be it.
Yeah.
And then the Wrestle Talk family spoke, and several of us stepped up and said, hey, we want to keep doing this, we want to keep going. And so hey, we stepped in. And speaking too of our sponsors, let me just put this out there to some of you guys. If you are a fan who wants to show how much you love the FW, sorry, that you love Wrestle Talk, if you want to become a fan sponsor, hit up any one of us and we'll hook you up and we'll get you going. I myself am a fan sponsor. And although I think I'm moving more into a host sponsor than a fan sponsor, but I'm starting to host a little bit more. And I have actually been given an official Wrestle Talk podcast, official women's wrestling expert analyst. So, I take that very seriously, and I feel so awesome about that. And Will is still working on our FWWC tonight. So, watch that. I'm not sure if you got one last month. Did you, Will?
I did not. We had some issues. We did I think the last one we done was a tribute show, and we had to take some time to kind of regroup because, if y'all paid attention to the last show, we had lost two of our own, and we have been, it's been a busy, busy last month. So, and not only in the world of wrestling, but in everybody's personal lives, we've just had so much going on that the next show is going to be packed full of probably about maybe 2 months worth of information to catch up because, like I said, we had two tribute shows back to
Yeah.
back. Huge losses in the world of wrestling, and not only with just, our group, but just all together as, a family. Um, so definitely going to catch that up. There's one going to be premiering the last Thursday of this month. A huge, huge episode to catch everybody up, especially with what's going on in not only wrestling but the FWWC. Um, which is weird because I'm
Yeah.
looking at this 547 still stuck on that. The Wrestle Talk podcast has been going on longer than my last two relationships. That is horrible. Um,
Well, I
so,
got to tell you, and when Wrestle Talk first started, it was done over the airwaves. You didn't get to see the host. Joe Lance and another gentleman started the show, Ronnie Rose, I believe it was,
mhm.
and they interviewed guests. In fact, I remember I used to tease Joe Lance. He lived close, in the area where I lived, and I always told him, if you ever get Stone Cold on, I'm showing up at your house. Because he
Yeah.
used to interview people from his house. They would actually come to his house and do the interview with him. But and then Ronnie kind of went away, and then Renee the Night Owl, he came in, and they were still doing it kind of over the phone, and the call in, and we did the FWWC tonight that way, and I was fortunate enough to get to host that for a while with one gentleman by the name of oh my God, Marcus Mayhem. Marcus Mayhem and I did
Yep.
that, and we were still doing it that way. And then all of a sudden, StreamYard came along, and now you get to see us. You don't just
Yeah.
hear us; you get to see us. And in some places, that's a blessing, and in others, we're like, "Oh gosh, please no," But
Yeah, especially on a
it's
bathroom.
always there you go. But now we've gotten up to 547 episodes. We've had some awesome guests. We have some awesome booked, coming up in the future. Tonight we have an awesome guest coming in. So, it's really great, that we are at 547. A lot of
Um,
podcasts don't make it that far. So,
the point
and
that
we
we
hope.
started. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I hope that, 547 from this one, we're still going strong.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think I
Now,
know
there's
what
a
you're
few.
about to say.
Oh yeah, because I mean, we just celebrated the 250th anniversary of this great nation, the greatest country in the whole world, America, baby. But in honor of the 4th of July, being we have not had our national anthem, let's play this booger right now. And who better to sing it than Roseanne Barr? Come on now, everybody, pay respect to
Thank God I got my
250.
earphones on.
I know this goes out to 250. Uh, I don't think it's not.
Uh-oh.
Oh man, nothing says America like that right there. America, baby. Alrighty.
They all like to say that brings a tear to your eye, but I think that's because it brings blood to your ears.
Possibly a little bit of both. Oh
Yeah.
man, so let's get into tonight's show. We got some wild, wild hot high spots tonight. So What we got on the agenda? We going to jump around
Oh,
to the high spots. Or we got something else coming up.
no, I don't think we have too much coming up. I think we could go ahead and jump into our high spots. Do we have? I think we have a high spot music, don't we?
Ah,
Let's.
we do. Let's see. High spots. Hmm?
Although I don't know if my ears will handle anymore right now, but
Um,
um, as long as it ain't Roseanne, we ought to be all right. Uh,
all right. I
okay.
think my ears are doing better than my back
I
right this
am
minute.
kind of looking, as you can tell, I'm looking at high spots music.
Um,
But for those who don't know what we're going about to do, why don't you explain it?
okay,
Yeah,
so
why
our
don't you
high
explain
spots.
what high spots is while I look for it?
High Spots is an open discussion topic. We state our opinion on the world of wrestling. We discuss something, we pull up a picture. We have questions that come in all throughout the week about what's going on in the world of wrestling. We question that. We state our opinions. We ask everybody else's opinions. And then we just have a open discussion. Sometimes it turns into an argument. Sometimes it don't. It just makes it really fun. So either way, hey, these are our hot spots. So we can pull these little boogers up.
And
I
if you, the
know.
fans, have anything you want to add to it, throw it in that comment section by all means. All right, let's DJ Money take it away.
Mic check, mic check. Yeah. All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like lamb chops. We talk shop, coming through the screens of a laptop and non-stop like I'm running speakers of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops. Like a clock flash, look like a barely fly. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast. Now they know we about to start the show.
All right. We have some really, really good topics tonight. Um, so let's just dive in, man.
Oh yeah, I know this is coming. You know it.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, you know that randomizer don't seem so random so much. It's just like a whole 5 minute long thing.
All right.
All right, so what are your thoughts on the reign of Sami Zayn as the WWE Undisputed Champion? Hmm. Susan, you want to start us off on that one because I got a lot to say about that one.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? I was kind of surprised and I kind of wasn't because they kept talking about how he hasn't held a major title and they just kept talking about, how he's, this is one that's eluded him and so I kind of almost expected him to give it to him, but I really thought they might hang it on him just a little bit longer than they did. And then the way they took it off of him, I kind of wondered, is he was just a placeholder until they could get to Chicago and bring back CM Punk.
Yeah, see, that's a
You
whole
know,
different topic
not
on its own.
a huge
Uh,
Punk fan, I have to admit, but I will say I was.
yeah, you kind of froze up. So I got to chime in on this one. And
Um,
see, my problem with the whole
okay.
Sami Zayn was right. Okay, so he said at least Sami Zayn's lasted longer than Bob Buckland's title reign. Oh wow, that was so. My problem is the whole situation in general. Who gives two rats ass about Sami Zayn? He's a mid Carter at best, and I'm not saying he can't get a crowd over. That's fine, but he is not world champion material. All right, that's really the face you want representing your company outside of maybe mid card. U.S. champion, Intercontinental champion, tag team champion. That's great, but he's not the face of a company. He wouldn't even be the face of a milk carton, much less anything else. I'm just not a fan of Sami Zayn. I think he knows how to work a crowd because he's talented. I'm not taking anything away from his talent. He's great. in the ring. Is he that guy? By no means, in any form or fashion, is he or ever has been or ever will be that guy to represent the company. I think it was a mistake. I think it's probably one of the worst decisions outside of putting the belt on David Arquette. When it comes to CM Punk, that was even worse. And I know all you little internet fans wanted to flat for about a week now since Cody Rhodes won his number one tender spot. He's like, oh, well, they just threw him back in the title shot. Nobody wanted to see Cody Rhodes. You know who I didn't want to see? Freaking CM Punk. He goes for 3 months and then just pops back up, walks in, gets a title shot, and wins. And then everybody's supposed to be happy. Internet fans are some of the most hypocritical, unrealistic people that I can think of when it comes to stuff like that, because that's all you heard about. And that's all you seen online was wham, wham, wham. Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is there day in, day out, putting in the work. Did I want to see him win? Absolutely not. Did I want to see him in another title shot? No. But it was better than CM Punk. Did I want to see Sami Zayn in the title shot? No. After months and years of win, I never got a title shot. I never been a world champion. I never been a world champion. Well, you know what? Because you're not world champion material. I agree with them taking the belt off of him, but I absolutely disagree with the fact that it was CM Punk. I believe that Mick Foley represented the world championship better than Sami Zayn. That's just my opinion. Everybody can disagree. I just think that was a mistake putting him on
Yeah,
to start with.
no, I mean, I don't disagree with you. I completely agree with you. I Sami Zayn to me has been all over the place. First it was
Mhm.
him and Kevin Owens, and then it was him and the Bloodline. And really, I mean, to me, he's just a wannabe. He's always chasing after the big stars because he wants to be one of them. And yet, is he really good enough to be a big star on his own? I mean, he's got a couple of really good moves, but Hulk Hogan had just a couple of good moves. Yeah, that leg drop and the elbow, let's be real. I
The
mean,
thing that
I
got really
just,
annoying,
like you
like
said,
it was
I know
always the
people,
underdog.
well, and people are getting tired of Cody, and people
Mm-hmm.
keep saying, oh, when is Cody going to go bad again? And blah, blah, blah. You know what, though? Like you said, and Seth Rollins said it when he was in the ring last night with LA Knight. LA Knight said, you come and go and you're here and you do this and I'm here all the time and I'm working and I'm working and I'm working, but you're the one that gets the shots. You're the
Mm-hmm.
one that gets this or this. But the thing of it is, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love LA Knight, and LA Knight is actually originally from right up the road from me here.
Mm-hmm.
But um, you know, the one thing that LA can't say is that when Seth is there, he works.
Oh yeah.
Seth is, yeah, he's involved in a lot of stuff, but he's out there working, he's out there doing things. And, a lot of people don't like Becky Lynch. They think she gets too many shots. But again, they get them because they work. They get them
Yep.
because they're always there. They live on their tour bus with their daughter. And let's be real, whenever you need somebody for a spot, they're always there. They're always willing to do it. And, I like Roman, but how many times does Roman have a match and then take off for a month or two? Come back,
Exactly.
have another match, then take off for a little bit, And yet you hang a title on him. Somebody like Seth Rollins, yeah, I mean, the only times he's ever lost titles is because he's had to go out on an injury. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that only brings up, though, how many times can somebody get injured and come back and get re-injured and come back and get re-injured? When you
Yeah.
start having somebody like that, maybe they become more of a liability. So, that's the only part where LA didn't actually say it. He just kind of implied that, he worked harder than Seth. But when you think
Mm-hmm.
about it, when Seth isn't there, he's usually out on injury. So, but if he's
Yeah.
there, he's working. And sometimes even injured, he's working.
I
So,
think a lot of
he
it has
puts
to
his
do with
very career on the line sometimes.
oh yeah. And straight up,
Yeah, go ahead.
and all honesty, you got to think of who put butts in seats. And as much as I hate CM Punk, as much as I cannot stand the fact that he won the belt, he puts butts in seats. Okay, you got to give him credit for that. People show up, they buy his merchandise, they buy tickets to see CM Punk, they buy tickets to see Cody Rhodes, they buy tickets to see LA Knight and Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is worldwide. I mean, he's got rappers, he's got everybody doing, acknowledging. So those are the kind of people, yeah, obviously they're going to be in the spotlight. Whether people agree with it or not, yes, that's the kind of people you want the face of the company. Look at Hulk Hogan. Man, he got shoved down everybody's throat for so long that everybody got so sick of him. But every time it turned around, he was putting butts in seats. That's one thing that Hogan was doing. He was selling out arenas. Ric Flair, I mean, come on. Everybody got sick of Ric Flair because he was winning the belt more times than anybody. Every time you turn around, 16 times they put the belt on this man. Everybody was sick of it and held it for quite a long time, even with Hogan. Well, I'm a huge Flair fan, so I loved it every time he won. But when it comes to Sami Zayn, back to the topic with him, I don't see people rushing out there buying his stuff. I don't. You could check online, his stuff's not being sold out all over the place. I don't know if anybody, none of my friends, none of my family, even people online. I've never heard anybody say, "Hey, I'm going to rush out and buy a ticket just so I can see Sami Zayn." I don't. I just don't see that happening. I think he should drop that down to the mid card. If not, consider going somewhere else. I'm not saying that he should be in WWE, but he's a small fish in a very big pond, and he's never going to be one of the sharks. That's just the problem with Sami Zayn.
Yeah, and like you said a minute ago, love him or hate him, Punk puts butts in seats.
We'd
So,
hate him more
you
than
know, what are you gonna do?
man. All right, so we ready? We don't beat that to death.
But
So we gonna
that's
jump
the
to
other
another.
thing. A lot of times people hate him, but they
Yeah.
yeah, sure. Let's go in and let's see here. Where is there it is. Okay.
Okay. Would have bannered a quiet match there, so we're gonna have to. Uh-oh. What's covering up? All right. So while we're waiting on this, Eric Young says he'll work where I want,
Yeah.
how I want, and for who
Eric
I
Young
want. Which
says he'll
situation would benefit the most from signing him? Yeah. You wanna start this one, Susan?
I gotta yeah, I gotta say, as talented as Eric Young can be, to go in there with the attitude that I do what I want, when I want, how I want. I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
what promoter is going to, but he ain't going to want to do that. So I'll just bring him in anyway. When you're going in with the attitude of you're going to do whatever you want, when you want, they don't want to work with you. If you're not willing to work with them, if you're going to be a prima donna, I don't see you going very far. Maybe on the independent circuit, and maybe because of the success you've had in different other groups, you can be a little prima donna in an independent group, and they might pay highly to have you. But
Hmm.
in a pond, you go to the big pond, I don't think you're going to be there long, because that big pond is going to say, why should I put up with that attitude when I've got a guy over here willing to do whatever I want him to? I can put him in the spot where I want to put
Yeah.
you.
My question.
So you go
Yeah.
on and go. I'm going to wait. I'm going to work with this one. I really can't see.
Yeah. You're breaking up just a hair there. With me, I'm just gonna be blunt. Who the heck is Eric Young? And I'm not trying to say that as an insult. I'm not trying to be ugly. Who the heck is this guy? Like, for one, I've never seen a merchandise. I've never seen a T-shirt, never seen a toy, never seen anything. I've never even heard of this guy. And I'm not saying he don't have talent. He might. That's hey, to be determined. I've never seen it. I think outside of diehard wrestling fans that watch every single promotion for every single time it's on TV, some of us grew up in wrestling and we still don't do that. I was in the indie scene and I was a wrestler and I still don't watch all these shows. Nobody knew who I was. You know what I'm saying? I don't know this guy, so I don't really have an opinion on his talent. He might be talented.
Yeah.
Is he a star? Absolutely not, because at this point, if he was as big as what his ego right now says on internet, people like WWE and AEW would have probably already signed him. TNA might would have already signed him. Possibly, I don't know where this guy wrestles. So I couldn't even tell you where he wrestled at. That's the sad part about it. Bigger promotions like WWE would have already signed him, at least into a development stage. You know what I mean? So in wrestling, yes, you have to have an ego. You have to have confidence. You
Actually, he
have to
did
have
work
a.
for WWE for a little while.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that, and I feel bad because I'm just completely in the dark about this guy. And I'm not saying I'm not bashing the guy. It's just I don't know who the guy is. Which says a lot because I mean he just obviously wasn't big enough name to cut it. And if he's already worked for WWE and didn't make it, then you're
Well,
just not
the
really.
other going to go in there and say, "Oh, I'm going to do things my way." And
Mhm.
WWE doesn't know what to do with anybody anyway. They
Yeah,
don't always use the talent the way they should. Like
absolutely.
take for instance, okay, don't get me wrong, not a big Liv Morgan fan. I'm just not.
Oh, I love
Because
some
to
Liv Morgan.
me, Liv Morgan is more naturally you would.
Oh, you
Okay.
lost it again.
But, with me, it's like you look at somebody there and flaunt her body and go out there and be Miss, nah, 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 and people kind of boo her. But then you have Liv who goes out there and, everything is about, oh, look at me, I'm sexy, that's not what are you here to wrestle or are you here to entice them in? If you want to be like that, go to the strip joint and do whatever. But if you're here to wrestle, then wrestle. I don't watch wrestling to watch some girl flaunt
I do.
all over the
No, I'm
place.
kidding.
Maybe you do, but I don't.
Yeah.
Day
And, I guess the
still
response to
it's
that
still
would
not
be,
like it was when I started watching it when I was 3.
yeah. No, you got to think now. It's come a long way now, and I say hands down, Liv Morgan would still outperform anybody during the Attitude Era, and I'll say that with confidence for the simple fact that during the Attitude Era, you had your so-called divas that really were just there to flaunt and be pretty. They were not wrestlers. They were not performers. And I believe that the talent they have as far as their women these days, whether it be TNA, especially AEW and WWE, got like women like Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss and even Liv Morgan. I think, in just my opinion, are actual wrestlers. Yes, they're still pretty. They're going to flaunt. They're going to do their thing, but they have the talent to back it up. They can still be pretty and then kick your ass. To where back then, outside of maybe China, I mean, none of them girls are very convincing when it comes to their skills.
Have come
Lita, possibly. I mean, but outside of that, I mean, and I love Trish Stratus. I grew up loving Trish Stratus, but Trish Stratus was more eye candy than she was talent. And I'm not taking away from that. She was huge talent. But I don't believe that she would compare. I mean, she's had some run-ins with the newer talent. That's great. But when you really watch those matches, Charlotte and I mean, all them people really carried those matches with her in there. And it might be due to age, it might be just whatever, but I don't believe that they were the
yeah,
caliber that they have reached now when it comes to the talent of women wrestling.
but see,
Oh,
that's
we
my
lost
thing. Do we want to watch as a woman myself?
mm-hmm.
Oh, as a woman myself, I don't want to watch women wrestling for the show. I want to so far over the year. They don't get the proper credit because people like Liv go out there and just, ooh, look at me. You know, if you've got the talent, use
Yeah. You're
the
breaking up a little bit.
talent. Don't
Yeah.
don't go out there and try to turn it into something. B, are you doing it? I'm just saying, I think the women of wrestling have come a long way.
Oh
When
yeah.
I started watching wrestling at 3 years old, you didn't see a lot of women wrestlers. Yeah, Moolah and Mae Young, but really and
Mhm.
truly, you didn't see a lot of women wrestling. So
Yeah.
now that they're getting their shine, now that they're getting out there, let's put them out there for the talent. How often do you see Nia Jax out there? Because she is not skinny, scrawny, and the men don't really want to see. Again, here's a woman who has some talent. Put her out there. Let's see her wrestle. Let's see her do what she does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you kind of got to look at that
I
both ways,
mean,
though.
why
Because
use your talent? Get it in the company.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're
I know
breaking
men
up.
are the main. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I've even got this directly connected tonight, and I'm still having trouble.
Yeah, it happens. So, I mean, I guess my thoughts on that would be kind of the same like with the guys, though. You got guys that are
But
just jacked, great bodies, nice bodies, stuff like that. Back then, yeah, you had like the beefy guys. They were still muscle bound. The ones that really were ripped and had the massive muscles usually got the push. Um, I just kind of feel that the look goes with the entertainment. I mean, let's be honest, it's a very, whether we want to admit it or not, it is a very showboating kind of business. You got to have the body for it. You got to have that look. When it comes to people like Liv Morgan, stuff like that, they got the look and the talent. And I do agree. They probably should focus more on the talent than the look. But right now, she's at a point where she's already proven she's got the talent. Why not flaunt just a little bit? Um, as a guy, I'm telling you, hands down, dude. From a man crush deal, I'll say it like that. Randy Orton always had that look. He had that style. He had the body. Um, I believe that at any given time, he probably could have pulled off like that Rick Rude deal. You know what I'm saying? Where he'd already proven everything he could prove. Now just get out here and flaunt just a little. You know what I'm saying? Um, I mean, when he come back, the man was just jacked, but he still had the
yeah,
talent to go with it. So a lot of it does involve just having to that body, something to flaunt, something to show. So I believe it goes hand in hand. At least at this point, it's not like it was back then. You know what I mean? It's not like it was with the Attitude Era where it was constantly bodies showed all over the place and bra panty matches and stripper on the pole kind of. You know what I'm saying? At least we're far away from that era. You know. Yeah. So you're popping up on a different deal here. Am I supposed to add you to it?
yeah,
Okay. So delete you off of one, add you to the other. All right. So we're gonna remove her off of this one. And we're gonna add her onto this one. Hey, you. That any better?
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, baby, you're not breaking up.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, no, I had to switch to the cell phone because this was yeah. So I had to switch to the cell phone. So I'm afraid I can't help in the back.
Sorry, voice to text and a text and accent don't mix. That works. Hey, I understand. Try having a deep South Georgia accent and then trying to go somewhere, and especially when you're angry and you start talking like straight hillbilly, it's hilarious. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next high spot if you want to. Oh,
Yeah. Let's see. So,
ooh, we'll wait until the banner matches here. And y'all give us a little bit of time. Sometimes the banners don't quite catch up to it. So Sheamus is officially leaving the WWE. Where should he wrestle next? And what dream match do you want to see first? I go ahead and start this one because I straight up think at this point he's already proven what he can do. I don't want to see him anywhere else. I believe that he's done what he can do in his career. I think it's time for him to do other options. Now, if he wants to continue his career, by all means, do it. But at this point, there's nothing left for him to do in wrestling. And even if he was to go to AEW, let's be honest, we've already seen some of those matches because a lot of AEW, like we've discussed many times, is nothing but a bunch of washed up has beens that was from WWE. People that just couldn't cut it. We've already seen these matches. Everybody's talking about, oh, it's a dream match. Okay, yeah, we've already seen it. So I don't believe there's any dream matches that I want to see him have. I don't believe that there's really anything that he could do in any other promotion that he hadn't already achieved in WWE. So at this point, if his career is winding down in WWE, he's older, he's slowing down, he is very injury prone, as we've seen the past couple of years. Call it quits. Enjoy your career. You're already a Hall of Famer. I mean, you're a future Hall of Famer. Just be done with it. Just walk away. Enjoy the rest of your future without having to feel the need to tarnish what you've done in your career by going somewhere else. And I believe that's what he's going to wind up doing. If he goes to AEW, it's going to ruin his image. If he goes to TNA, it does well. The TNA is pretty much still WWE. But if he goes AEW or anywhere else, it's just going to ruin it. It really is. I believe at this point, Sheamus should just call it quits and be done.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always kind of liked Sheamus, but there again, just like we said a little bit ago, WWE doesn't know what to do with Sheamus. You know, um, he had a good thing going for a while, but if he were to say go somewhere else, might be kind of cool to see him go to AEW and maybe face John Moxley. It might be a good match, him and John Moxley, especially this darker, more meaner John Moxley. And anybody who watches AEW, you've got to see how John Moxley is just, I don't even know how to explain John Moxley anymore, but I have always been a huge, huge fan of John Moxley. So I wouldn't mind seeing Sheamus and him hook up somewhere. Be better for me if they came back both of them to the WWE, but you know, that's just kind of where I'm at with John Moxley. And
Yeah, I can't really agree on that one. I mean, it's just I'm not a fan of John Moxley or Dean Ambrose, whatever he wants to call himself. He's a oh God, he's a Mick Foley wannabe. I'm sorry, that's all he is. He's a wow guy, and that's it. He wows the crowd by doing really stupid stuff. I think he takes it too far. I don't think he has the talent on the mic and the ring. I just don't. I mean, and that's why he was not the one that got over in the Shield. I mean, even back then when he was with WWE and he was with the Shield, the only two people that people paid attention to, let's be honest, was Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. That's why they're in the position they're at. That's why John Moxley is still over here acting like some weird, dark, psychotic wannabe. I don't know. I've never been a fan of his. I think he belongs in AEW. He really does. He
I
belongs
just
over
don't think, yeah, I don't think there was enough room for him and Seth and Roman in the WWE. I think he wound up having to go to AEW because if he had stayed in WWE, he'd have been buried.
here.
They wouldn't have used him the way he should have been used.
But I mean, okay. He's one of those examples of how do you phrase it the most polite way professionally. Um, okay, he's the best of the worst in certain situations. I mean, he couldn't cut it in WWE because, let's be honest, like you said, he was going to get buried because he got outshined. He didn't have the talent, didn't have the mic skills, just flat out was not on the same level as people like, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, all the guys that were during that time frame, that really stood out and just exploded during the time of the Shield. And I mean, he just don't have it. And then he goes to AEW where once again, and I'm not knocking AEW, but like they bashed WWE for the longest time, and then you got every reject that couldn't make it on the big stage over in AEW, and you want to sit down like, oh, we're where the best wrestle. No, you're not. It's just where people go to retire or people go because they couldn't cut it on the big stage. And I believe that John Moxley is a prime example of that. He is the leader of the pack when it comes to you couldn't cut it on the big stage. Now you're over here acting like you're a big shot. Yet when you go to town, nobody's wearing John Moxley t-shirts unless you're just some diehard AEW fan. You're not buying his merchandise. Let's be honest, when it comes to merchandise, AEW just does not cut it. That's why I say it's still maybe a third-rate show, possibly. And even with the talent, hit and miss. It's just people that couldn't cut it. John Moxley is just he's the best of the worst, I guess, in that situation. So I don't think it would be a dream match. I think it was overplayed even back in WWE with him and Sheamus. I know somebody had mentioned, Claudio. Even then, I've seen great matches with them two in WWE. I think it's to the point where it's played out. There's only so much they could do in the ring together, and if you go to AEW, it's going to be the same boring match. Not saying it was really boring because WWE they put on some good matches. It's going to be the same thing. There's only so much you can do. So
Yeah.
I don't.
I,
I just
I
I
just
think it's
think, you said it best a minute ago. You said a minute ago, it just, AEW is basically old WWE.
Mhm.
It's just the guys who have always been, they were big in WWE and now they get buried, so they move over to AEW, Um, look at what was his name? Cesaro
Yeah,
changed his
Claudio.
name and he's
Mhm.
somewhere else now, but what's he doing?
Absolutely nothing. And I'll use Edge and Christian. Edge and Christian was some of the biggest names ever in WWE.
Oh yeah.
And absolutely a huge fan.
Oh
They
yeah.
jump over to AEW and become a broken, watered down shell of what they used to be. The matches are supposed to be more intense. The matches are supposed to be, yeah, okay, for a small crowd. And I'll compare AEW to say like the NXT crowd. We have discussed this before about NXT. When talent gets over in NXT, that's great, but that does not mean that they are over to the point they need to be on the main stage, or the main roster. And the reason why is because you have a smaller crowd. It's easy for these guys to get over in a small crowd in front of the same people over and over and over. That's great. The problem with that though is when you put them in the spotlight and really show their flaws, that's the point. You show their flaws. When it
Yeah.
comes to Edge and Christian, Edge made his comeback after he retired. He had a great send off. He should have just left it alone. He comes back, obviously because of injuries, obviously because of him getting older and stuff like that, because age catches up with all of us. He was not able to perform at the level he used to. And let's be
Yeah.
honest, the crowd did not respond to him the same way that they used to. It was almost like they pitied the man. He would come out and they're like, "Yay, it's nostalgia, it's Edge." But then what really come of it? Absolutely nothing. The crowd
Yeah.
kind of sat on their hands and was like, "Okay, now it's Edge. Like, what
Yeah.
else?" You get
Well,
what
I
I'm saying?
mean, like I said, they don't know what to do with half those guys. Look at Braun Strowman, you
Mhm.
know, big guy. But they did nothing with him, and now he's doing a show where he eats his way through America. Come on. Everything on the menu. Come
So
on, let's be real.
you think a lot of that has something to do with the talent, though? Because, it is up to the talent to really get the crowd working for them. And I'm not
Yeah,
saying it's always bad booking because you could be booked in some of the worst matches and then turn around and still get the crowd behind you.
right.
And I'll use Kofi Kingston as an example. Um, the crowd got behind him something serious, okay? But look at how he was booked. He was booked horribly. All right, but he had the crowd on their feet every time. He had the crowd behind him, even so much to the point where he won the belt. Um, I believe that a lot of stars they have the talent when it comes to in the ring. They know how to wow the crowd, but they don't know how to really work the crowd. They don't have the fan base that they ought to have in order to be that top guy. And that's just something that's unfortunate. And I believe the same thing happened with people like Cesaro. Cesaro had the crowd wowed while he was in the ring. But let's be honest, no fans was out there buying his merchandise. No fans was out there really getting behind him, as far as just, I don't know. Huge difference between putting butts in seats and wowing the crowd that's already there seeing somebody else. Okay, I could
Right.
pay to go see, Roman Reigns and still enjoy every other match. I'm going to give credit where it's due and enjoy the match itself, but that don't mean I'm there to see him. I'm there to see somebody else. And I think that's
But
where a lot of these wrestlers fall into WWE because
but
they
the
just open
saddest, the sad thing is, and this is,
Mhm.
I've heard Haas say this a million times. You know, wrestling fans are fickle,
Mhm.
and they are. One night they're booing you, the next night they're cheering you, then the next night they could care less that you're there. And then the next time you're out there, they're booing you again or they're cheering you again. You can look at a wrestling fan, and if you look at them sideways, they're going to change their whole attitude about you. Hey, I don't
Mhm.
like the way he looked at me. I'm going to boo him now. So
Exactly.
there's really not, if you try to find a rhyme or reason why most fans like you or don't like you, there is no rhyme or reason.
No, there's
There's
really
just
not.
not. Fans are, and as a fan of myself, I can honestly say, I know I have at times been a little fickle.
Yeah,
I've
obviously.
there's guys like on the independent scene that I get to know them on a personal level, and they're in the ring, and they'll say, okay, I'm a heel, you're supposed to boo me, and I'm like, I can't.
Exactly.
I can't boo you. you know and there's a bad guy in the ring that I'm standing there going, oh, I love him, he's so awesome, and he's like, shut up. Or, and I know that there's like at WDWA, there's one wrestler that he recently kind of made a heel turn. The sad thing is there are certain people around the ring that no matter how bad a heel turn he's made, unless he were to go out and punch him in the face, they're going to keep rooting for him.
Oh yeah. And I'll use, and I'm the same way. I've been that way for, I've been that way myself, and I'll use my own experience and my own love for like Ric Flair. Grew up diehard Ric Flair fan, still am. At the same time, do I want to see him back on TV? If he was to come out right now, I would boo the hell out of that man because for one, he's too old, and he's come to the point where it's almost pathetic that he's still trying to come on TV. And I'm not saying that I'm not still a fan. I'm a fan of what his legacy is. I'm a fan of what he's accomplished in the business. He, to me, will always be the greatest of all time. But hang it up, dude. Okay. If he was to come out right now, I would boo him. And it's almost embarrassing to see him on TV now because it's almost like you're desperate. And
Yeah.
that's how a lot of these stars come off. And I think that's why some of the fans, really react the way they do because I mean, we're not dumb. The fans aren't dumb. We as fans aren't really stupid. Sometimes we see through the bullshit. Like, okay, and I think a lot of it has to do with the internet too, though. I think the internet really, when they pulled back that curtain and they really started showing like some of their true sides, some of their real people outside of what we saw as a character on TV, that has a lot to do because all it takes is one bad post about somebody online and the next time they walk outside, they're being booed. Look at politics right now. I mean, oh my God, dude. All it took was somebody saying, "Hey, I back this person or I back this political party," and when they walk out, and which should have nothing to do with their fan base, should have nothing to do with their in-ring talent, but yet they walk out to the ring and they're getting booed simply because they have a different religious belief or a different political outlook. I think fans now. I personally don't really get into all that. I think I don't really care less what they believe. It's not my business. Um, but I think the fans now are really into that. I think the fans are very wishy-washy, and some of them are hypocritical because how
Yeah.
can you say oh I'm going to be accepting of all people and then get mad and boo somebody and not buy their merchandise simply because they just have different beliefs. Which we all know what party does that. I'm not getting into that, but my
I
issue.
can't honestly say that I have ever, and I buy a lot of t-shirts when I go
Mhm.
to independent shows. And as a matter of fact, there is a wrestler in the Kansas City area that I know because he was at once a member of FWWC. And recently I talked to him online, and I'm getting a couple of his t-shirts. And, I buy t-shirts. If I like someone, I will buy their t-shirt.
Oh
But
yeah,
if they go bad or they go heel turn, I'm not going to throw the t-shirt out just because they've done something that I didn't agree with.
no, no.
They're out there to make a living. This is their career. And if it's
Mhm.
best for their career to go and be a heel, then okay, I'm going to be your heel. You're a heel. I like you. It takes a lot for me as a fan. And believe me, I've been called one of the craziest fans out there. But it's a lot for me as a fan to say, I'm not gonna root for him anymore. I'm gonna throw away his merchandise. I'm not, I have only come across one wrestler in my in my wrestling fandom that he attacked me personally. I got
Mhm.
a nasty message from him online. He was very rude to me. Um, you know, kind of saying to me, you're saying this about me and this about me and this about me. Why didn't you come talk to me? Well, when you heard I was saying that, why didn't you come talk to me? You know, but and I'm not going to go into it because I'm not going to get into all the specifics.
Mhm.
But that is one person that once it was a personal attack, and it was, in my opinion, an unnecessary one. That's when I was like, okay, fine, and I did. I threw away the T-shirt. I had the slam buddy, and I got rid of it all, and I was like, no, I'm done with it, you know. But to me, it's like, it takes a lot when you're a fan. Just because somebody does a heel turn and you don't agree with it, or just because they maybe get into a faction that you don't agree with, or they take up with a group that you can't stand all of a sudden, it doesn't make them somebody you should stop rooting for, because nothing is permanent in wrestling.
Oh yeah.
How many times do people win titles? And hey, let's look at Sami Zayn. He won a title. 9 days later, he lost it. You know, just because somebody's doing something or a wrestler's doing something you don't agree with doesn't mean that they may not eventually come right back to
Oh
where
yeah.
they were when you were the
Yeah.
big fan.
Prime example, and one of the best examples ever in wrestling history is I believe today actually marks the anniversary of the NWO. You know, the Hogan heel turn and stuff like that. Hogan, oh my God, he had a moment where people were literally in the streets burning his merchandise, and then turned around probably weeks later, had more people buying his merchandise simply because of the character. You know, once they got to realizing, hey, this is a different Hulk Hogan than we're used to, but we like it. And I believe it works a lot of ways for some wrestlers, and some people it don't. I believe that for CM Punk, and then I'll use him as an example because I can stand him. With him, it's the fact that people know he really is a piece of shit. Like, so, and excuse my language, but he really is. He's a trashy person. So it's hard for me to believe that he's supposed to be the good guy on TV when every promo is literally so self-centered and so selfish that he is a heel. He's telling you he's a heel. He's telling you he's selfish. And yet these idiots and buffoons go wild for this man. And they're like, oh my God, CM Punk, CM Punk. The hell with CM Punk. He is a selfish individual, not just behind the scenes, but even on the mic. Every time he gets on the mic, he is very self-centered.
You know,
And go ahead.
I've got to say, I I at one time, I worked for a cable company, and I used to get tickets galore to go to wrestling shows. And
Hmm.
John and I, one time, and at the time I was married, we went to a show, and I was down in the portal, and the Undertaker and Paul Bearer came down. And they got
Yeah.
out of their car, and the crowd rushed him wanting autographs. And he turned around and he was like, give me a break, guys. He said, I just got here. Let me get my stuff in the thing. Give me a chance to breathe. You guys bombard me right all at once. And I mean, he had a good point. So, I'm
Hmm.
looking at these people going, y'all need to back off because the first autograph is mine, and I'm like,
Hmm.
and I'm not a big autograph hound. You know, you're going to scribble something on a piece of paper, and 5, 10 years from now, I'm not going to know whose autograph that is. Oh, is that the Undertaker's, or is that Stone Cold's, or is that, I'm not going to remember. I'm really not. So, I don't really ask for autographs, but I had an aunt who really loved him, and I had a picture of him, and I wanted him to autograph it for her. And so, he got real nasty. So everybody backed off. And then some cute little girl come down the portal, some little, you know, thing about his age, whatever. And she walked up to him and said, can I have your autograph? And he's like, sure thing, darling. And he signed it. And I
Yeah.
was like, excuse me. Well, at that point, my mouth overloaded my rear end, to be totally honest with you. And being that I'm only 5 foot and he's seven something, I'm like reaching up and I'm pointing at him and I'm like, let me tell you something, my money pays your salary. And I don't even remember what all I said, but I remember Haas walked off and told somebody, she's going to die. I don't know her, and he refused to admit that he knew me. But it was like, to me, he was rude. And I was like, wait a minute. I get that maybe these fans are always bombarding you. I get that you're
Hmm.
probably, you hardly ever get a moment's peace, but these people pay your salary.
Oh yeah.
And you need to remember that these people, even if you're a heel, maybe sometimes you should at least acknowledge them. Acknowledge them. Just like, like I remember one time Owen Hart told me, I saw Owen Hart in person and I was like, "You're the worst there is, the worst there was, the worst there ever will be." And he looked at me and says, "Why don't you go eat a bag of chips?" And I'm like, "What?" And then he kind of winked at me and walked on. And I was like, "Jerk." But it was just, to me, if you're going to be nasty to one fan, don't turn around and be nice to another. And then, use the excuse, "I'm a heel." No, 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 no. If you can be nice to that one, you can be nice to me. And if
Oh yeah.
not, yeah, I'm going to get a little nuts.
Well, as soon as he sits back down, we have another segment that we're going to bring on. As soon as he is back, if I click on it now, it's just going to be his chair. Uh, we do have Big Daddy P in the house here to do his little segment, Snippets of Truth. So as soon as he gets back in here, we're going to hit the Snippets of Truth. There he
Awesome.
is. There's that little mug we love. All right, so we're going to bring on Mr. Perry Hoffman, Big Daddy P, and he's going to give us our Snippets of Truth. If
Hey,
you're
hey,
ready.
before you bring him on here now, we have music for him.
Oh yeah, you
We
got to play his music, man.
we have Big Daddy P music. So let me see if I can find it here. Um
Oh,
it is definitely here. I know we've got it. I've just got to find it. And we can play him on as soon as I find it. But as he is sitting backstage, we just want to say it is awesome to have him here. And with that, let's bring on. Well, come on. There we go.
What's up?
Big Daddy, it is awesome to see you, my friend.
How y'all doing?
Oh yeah, doing good, doing good.
I wasn't going to miss this for the world tonight. I said, I don't care what I got going on. This is always super important because as you're learning, as you got, first of all, I am probably just as old as maybe both of you put together.
I don't know about that.
I just turned another year older, so we're good, we're good.
Well, I'm 55, okay?
I ain't quite there yet.
And in 55 years, one of the things that I've learned is that problems are guaranteed, but stress is optional.
Big Daddy, can I tell you something?
Yep.
You're not older than me.
You mean you're older than I am? Well, you look amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you. But yeah, I've got you by a couple of years.
Well, then you know, right? Problems are guaranteed, but stress is optional.
Exactly.
It's a choice.
And it's like I said, like with title shots and different things you do in wrestling, it's all temporary. It's all temporary.
Thank goodness, because if it wasn't, it would be boring.
Thank you, Night Owl.
And I don't look a day over 25 here. You know how it goes.
Well, I had no idea that you were even in your 40s, so you're doing pretty good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I got to tell you, there are times in life that I have felt my age, and there are times in life when I refuse to act my age because I believe as long as you're young at heart, you'll always be young.
Correct. And at the same time, too, a lot of people forget that the Lord made us a certain way, but the world tries to change us into who they want us to be instead of the way that he wants us to be in. I think that's why those who have peace for a reason, because they're happy with what they're doing, and those that aren't happy, that are miserable, that make other people's life miserable, you have to feel sorry for them because they don't know better. They're traveling along like with a frantic search for happiness, and they haven't found it yet, and it's just heartbreak. 4th of July was such a wonderful day to think that for 250 years we have the ability to have freedom of religion, that we have freedom of speech, that there are things in, I mean, this country is far from perfect, but we are where we are because that's where he wants us to be. Otherwise, we'd be somewhere else.
Yeah, like still with my ex-wife. Ugh.
No,
So
but
you
in some situations, man, it takes time to get through that. I was married at 20, married at 30, married at 40, and Jamie at 49. And now it's been 7 years. And you know, in 7 years, we haven't had one argument. We don't disrespect each other. She doesn't flip her lip all the time, and I don't gossip, and we don't. I mean, it's just not who we are. And unfortunately, not a lot of people have that in their relationships. I mean, my goodness, look at Maxine Dupree.
oh Lord.
Now, I haven't gotten to any of the hot spots. I haven't even caught the show today. But
Well,
again,
we were just discussing Sami Zayn and his reign. I mean, of course, Mr. Ace here doesn't even think Sammy should have had the title in the first place.
no, he, well, I, you know, heavyweight champion, yes, undisputed, and the way he won, not so much.
Yeah.
But the crowd went nuts in Saudi Arabia. It was a business decision. There was no way Sammy knew before he won it that Chicago was right around the corner. He knew.
Well, last night when they talked about Sammy having a different opponent because Cody's injury, if you didn't realize that, hey, they're in Chicago, the
There was
fans are already screaming CM Punk, CM Punk. If you didn't know that at that moment CM Punk was the one that was coming out there, and if you didn't suspect they were going to have CM Punk take the title in Chicago in front of all these fans, then you're not a real wrestling fan.
and
You really
do you know there was only one purpose for that?
to give it back to CM Punk.
No, not at all. To make us feel bad for Sami Zayn, and we fell for it hook, line, and sinker.
I didn't feel bad.
9 days he had it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought it would be Brock Lesnar because if you look at the match between him and going Obafemi going into SummerSlam, the way they've always booked that kind of stuff, they're going to put everybody knows they're going to put Oba over. You know what I'm saying? Why not put the title on the line? Because they've done that before. They've done it when it comes to Seth Rollins. They've done it with
They
Roman
might.
Reigns.
We have time. They might. You got Saturday night's main event still.
So to me, I felt that maybe it would have been Brock Lesnar because that would, to me, would have made more sense. Obviously, because the Chicago crowd, everybody thought it was going to be CM Punk. I was really hoping it would have been Randy Orton. And I'm not going to lie.
Who's the
Randy
new
Orton
legend killer?
Oba.
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 Yeah,
Gunther.
Gunther.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So
that
now Gunther's
it
going to go
wouldn't have
after
surprised
CM Punk.
me. It wouldn't have surprised me to have seen Oba cash in last night and take it, and then it would be on the line when he
That's why
faced
we got
Brock.
Money in the Bank coming up. Again, it's all perfectly in motion.
Yeah. Well, and I believe we even had a high spot section asking about it. Can you see Oba though? Night 1, he'll do him and Brock. Night 2, he'll cash in. I mean, I could see that. I really could.
Yeah.
It to me, it depends upon whether or not they give CM Punk a match at SummerSlam. If they don't, then I can see Oba cashing in. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just jump into that high spot there because I believe that I don't know. I don't want to say it's too soon to put to pull that trigger and put the belt on him, but I don't believe that if they did it now, that they wouldn't go ahead and shoot themselves in the foot because then you would have kind of a Roman Reigns situation. You get somebody that dominated Brock Lesnar like he did, who's going to be believable in actually beating this guy?
Correct.
And I'm not saying that, but at the same time, I don't think he's ready for a
I
lengthy
know
time.
who. What's his name in NXT? Starts with a K.
Oh, shoot.
Uh,
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it.
Shoot. He's a badass. He reminds me of Oba Femi. He's, I think, just as big as
Mhm.
Oba.
Mhm.
Shoot. Dang it.
Hello, Jimmy Harris.
Oh,
Shoot. Anyway, uh, he could take Oba.
Well,
yeah,
it's like I said earlier though. Look at guys like Auxilla or Braun Strowman. These are guys that they could have used so much differently than they do, and now you've got Braun Strowman going from restaurant to restaurant, town to town, eating his way through. Come on,
Mhm.
this is a guy that you've let go, brought back, let go, brought back. He's so much more talented than they give him credit for, and they could do so much more with him, but they don't, and they don't know what they're doing, and they've already given Oba a King of the Ring, so why wouldn't they hang a title on him this soon? I mean, obviously they're not going to make him work his way up. They're going to throw him in right off the bat, and then you pigeonhole him.
Gunther. That's the
Hit
piece.
and miss. Honestly, the only way that would make sense as far as booking wise, if they put the title on you, and then everybody knows they're going to eventually, it's going to be way too soon. If you're going to build a star off of somebody like that, and as far as that beast mentality, you can't really let him lose right off because that's just going to bury his whole character. I mean, why would he win, build up this whole beast mentality, and then lose? The only way that would work is if you had like Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker would be the only one that would make sense because them two has already had kind of an altercation. They've already showed that they're kind of powerhouses against each other. Neither one of them's really been in the ring against each other, I don't believe, one on one. So that would be an amazing deal. I don't want to see Oba and Roman Reigns. I just don't. I don't think that's going to be. If anybody really should have been put in that position, I believe that it could have been Braun Breaker. I believe that Oba right this minute is just not ready. As far as the star power, I believe that's great. But ultimately, he's going to get the Goldberg treatment. People's going to wind up seeing exactly, and after seeing Goldberg and everybody, seeing how that turns out, I think it's going to be the same way. I believe that he's going to get that same kind of treatment. People's going to see right through it that he's only good for maybe two or three moves, and that's it.
Well, look
That's
at
it.
Jade Cargill.
Mhm.
There you go with Jade Cargill. She was a big girl. She was a powerhouse. They put the belt on her, and now they've taken it off of her. But I mean, if you really paid attention to her, you know, if you really seriously watch her matches, you can still see a misstep here and there.
Yeah.
She is, while she is a talented person, she is not fully ready yet, in my opinion, to have been a champion. She's just still a little too green. But they hung a belt on her. They let her keep it for a little while, and now they've taken it back off of her. They've given it to Rhea Ripley, who has once again gotten hurt. And
Mhm.
now it's like, what's happening with that belt? Are we going to see it defended? Are they going to take it away from Rhea again? What's the deal there? And how long are they going to let Liv keep her title? Io Sky is uber talented, and are you going to let her take it from Liv, or are you going to let Liv and her Goonies run roughshod over Io? And honestly, I think a lot of fans are getting tired of this Judgment Day thing where they're always interfering and always causing issues. Although their little interaction with Danhausen has really kind of, kept me laughing. I'm loving that. And I'm,
Danhausen.
I'm loving Miz and Kip's thing with Danhausen. I just think Danhausen, I have to be honest, I have always not been a huge Danhausen fan, but I'm getting there.
I'm still not. I just ain't, you know.
Oh, I'm getting there. I really am. I mean, at first I saw him as
If
another.
anybody wanted any evidence that Vince McMahon is back, it's right there.
There you go. That gives the whole
Although they're
vibe.
saying it was CM Punk that started this, but
All right, so we're right here at the top of the hour. So, Mr. Perry, Mr. Big Daddy, we're gonna let you take it over real quick. Let you do your thing.
yeah, I got some truth tonight, man. I was thinking about what I was going to say because I used to spend quite a bit of time studying, and I did that for so long that I got bored. I was like, I've spent all this time inhaling. I want to exhale now. And one of the things over, at least, and especially today, we forget that it is God that has sent us where he wants us to go. I said earlier that we are where we are because that's where he wants us to be. Otherwise, we'd be somewhere else. There's a lot of truth to that because in the end, he either knows what we're doing or he doesn't know. Look at my shirt. It says, I saw that. There is nothing going on in our lives that he doesn't see. So I want to encourage you today, especially based upon Isaiah, because in the book of Isaiah, chapter 6, verse 8, look at what he says. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send? And who will go for us? And I said, here I am, send me. So you are where you are because that's where he needs you to be because somebody's hurting and somebody needs a friend. And a lot of people think that you have to have a certain title to encourage, and you don't. As believers, he commands us to make disciples. Now, how we can make the quality of a disciple is based upon our education and what we know about what the Bible says. But I want you to remember that you are where you are, building his church using you. It's not about religion, it is about relationship. And I think again, if we were to compare pro wrestling with church, you'd be shocked how many similarities there are. I mean, you got a good guy and you got a bad guy. Half the people wear masks. I mean, really, there's a referee. Should I continue? I mean, it is extremely perfect that you can look at life that has ups and downs, right? You got positives and negatives, but as I said earlier, problems are guaranteed. Stress is optional. It's easy to praise him when things are good, but when things are not so good, it's not so easy to praise him. So I know there are a lot of people who aren't religious people, and I'm proud of you. I hate religion. Religion is man's way of trying to prove to God how good we are. That has nothing to do with the relationship with Jesus. He's all about what did he do for us? He died for us. And then he says, so now in First John 3:16, that we should lay our lives down for one another. What does that mean to lay our lives down? Doesn't mean I've got to die for you. He died for us already. He said it is finished. But as your friend, as someone who loves to pray, who loves to encourage, I've stopped everything else just to do this for 25 years now, and I'm not going back. I can't go back. As much as I love spending all my time and attention doing all this other stuff, there's very important work that needs to be done. And Christ is building his church, and he's building you. So be patient. Don't worry about what you're going to eat or where you're going to go or what to say. He will always make sure that wherever he sends you, that you go out in a manner in which he sends it. So be encouraged. I love you guys. Part of Snippets of Truth has to do with prayer too, because I can talk, but I rather pray. See, love's a verb. So because love is a verb, I got to pray. Because again, there are people hurting, and some believe in prayer, some don't. If you don't be offended. If you do, let's go. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the Wrestle Talk podcast. What a pleasure and an honor that is that we get to represent you in the devil's world. as he travels around trying to distract believers from the plan that you've set out for them. You've brought people like me and Renee and so many others over the last, I don't know how many years, to be a light in such darkness, but yet there's so much light and fun in this show, and I thank you. And we continue to have these segments as you see fit, not because we get paid, not because we're going to get something in return, but with an attitude of gratitude, for a basket full of thanksgiving for all that you've done in the past, all that you're going to do now, and all those mysteries in the future. Continue to open every door that needs to be opened, close every door that needs to be closed. And I ask these things by the power of your Spirit, in the only name under heaven in which one can be saved. In the name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me talk to you. What do you want to talk about? You know, I think we could take all the little sayings of all the wrestlers and put them together and make like a little mix. You know, what are you talking about? You know, you just get them all in there. Be hysterical.
Oh man.
Yeah, it
You know,
would.
speaking of prayer, and I want to go ahead and touch on something just, for future reference here when y'all do your prayers later on and stuff, if you're here in the next couple of days. I've had a pretty rough injury to my back, and I'll probably have to go. I'm out of work for about a week, and I got to go next week to see if I have to have surgery. So keep that in prayer. And I'm currently in a lot of pain. It's hard to move. I'm hunched over like an 80-something-year-old man right now. So keep that in prayer. Um, I mean, I've dealt with pain years and years dealing with the same issue, and it's gotten to the point where it's just caught up to me to where, it's hard to move. And without sounding funny, it's almost like my spine is trying to come out my butt. So y'all just, yeah, y'all keep that in prayer. It's very painful. So,
I'll definitely
Lord,
keep you. I'll definitely keep you in prayer. But while you're taking prayer requests there, um, you know, Haas and I, we have a father who has dementia, and hospice has been coming in, and prognosis ain't so good. So, I just want what's best for him, and only the Lord knows what that is.
Does he
So,
know the Lord?
pardon? Yes, he does. He
Oh,
loves
well,
the
then
Lord.
just tell him no matter what happens, he's good to go, because he's either going to get through the day or he's going to be face to face with him. Either way, he wins.
I got to tell you, we go to church every Sunday, and it has only been, recently that he can't go on Sundays because of his condition and the way things are. But when we would go shopping, like we would walk through Walmart, he would go through Walmart and he would testify to anybody that would stop and listen to him. And that was one of the things that our pastor came to see him last week, and he told him, he said, I miss hearing you come to tell me about all the people you talk to in Walmart. He goes, which to me is as close to hell on earth as you can get. But he's like, I just, he said, I loved hearing you always talking about going through there and shaking hands and talking to people and telling them about God. He said,
But when are you
you're,
supposed to be? When are you supposed to see him next?
oh, I live with him.
Well, good. Do me a favor. Would you deliver a message to him?
Sure,
Tell him I said, "Well done, good and faithful servant."
I will. I will tell him that.
It's
He
not.
definitely does love the Lord. And that is one comfort I do have.
Well, is it possible that that's what he's going to leave you with?
Hopefully.
Is to continue to be that way for people that God see. We forget God puts people in front of us for a reason. It's not like by accident. We think everything is by. It's not. It's purposeful.
Yeah.
So just live in that. Hold on to that, and continue to encourage one another and him. And again, if all three of us wake up tomorrow morning, that's a gift.
oh yeah.
Exactly.
That's
And
right.
you know what? That every day I have with him, to me, I thank God, because it's like, thank you for one more day with him. One more day to love him, and one more day that I can hear him say things,
Correct.
that about how awesome he thinks God can be. Even though there are times, because of his disease, that he says some things that make me want to cringe. But, my mom always says, God knows the situation and he ain't going to hold it against him. So,
Correct.
I'm like, okay.
The thing is, what people forget is that the price was already paid. He's not. The sins are paid for. To God, all the mistakes that we're making now in time, they're paid for already. The question is are we acknowledging those to Him and saying, "Hey, I made a mistake. Don't promise not to do it again because you might, and that's okay." But in the end, I think if we can keep it in perspective, if we can keep these positives and negatives in perspective and try and see within them
Yeah.
what He's trying to say. Because again, I lost my mom at 7, dad at 17. I was on my own at 17. I know people who have a mother and a father today, and some of them won't even talk to them. And I'm like, man, if mine were alive, shoot, you know. So they just don't
I see
realize how
mine
good they
every
are.
day, and I can't imagine a day without them.
That's right.
And like I said, I know friends and family who've lost parents. And each time I go to a funeral for a friend's parent, I say, thank you, God, that I still have mine.
Yeah, because the
You know,
older we get, the more we lose around us.
yeah. Yeah. And it's just like us in the FWWC that, recently there have been two competitors that we've lost here in this last year.
Mm.
And you don't realize until it happens just how much those people mean to you, and the times that you have had a chance to spend with them, how much you know it just makes you say, oh my gosh, thank you, Lord, for the short time I had to get to know them. One Mike, that we called him Voorhees. uh, John tells the story after he passed about us going to Kansas City for a watch party out there. And while we were there, Voorhees went out to with a bunch of us to eat, and he ordered like three breakfasts. And we were all sitting there laughing. We couldn't believe he'd ordered three breakfasts, but we all went to IHOP and he ordered three breakfasts, but he ate them all and he had a good time, and he could pretty much imitate Haas, and when Haas first got in, he could imitate Haas and the way Haas used to talk. And one of his promos, he could regurgitate it right back to Haas and sound just like him. And, it wasn't really until we lost him that Haas really realized, just how tickling it was to him, that this guy really did, mean more to him than he realized he did.
For
So, and his friendship.
well,
Yeah,
what it's all
we
about.
got to get in some shoot and shouts here, 'cause that's our next segment. Well, I got to pull this up because talking about shooting and shouting, we had the lawman in the comments, and he is just agging this on. You got, let's see, man, Susie, I'm telling you, this man has it out for you. You talk about a shoot and shout.
I'm just going to say this. I could sit here and I could trash the lawman, who is the next contender for my title. But I'm going to put it this way: you ran the FWWC, then you left because you lost your title. You tucked tail and you ran. I stayed. I worked my butt off. I got what I got. And if you think I'm going to let you come after me and take it, lawman, I'm going to be singing that song. I shot the sheriff
So real
and I
quick,
shot the deputy.
oh yeah, real quick, we are going to cover just a very quick note from the CEO on the FWWC news. If you can pull that up real quick, Susie, if you have it.
Uh,
Did you have it?
I
All right,
don't
cool.
have it. I don't
Uh-oh.
have it. Do you
You'll
have
have to
it?
read off this. I do. I got the messages. I don't think I got it on the thing, so I have to pull it up on the message. All right. So if anybody paid attention last night to some of the matches, good evening FWWC. This is from the CEO now. Good evening FWWC Universe and fans and supporters worldwide. Unfortunately, I, the CEO, will not be able to make tonight's segment due to business at hand that occurred last night on the FWC Monday Night Mania. Lots of action, but unfortunately not without its incidents. Due to the irresponsible actions of the House of Horrors members Sick and Lecter, the doctors have determined that Ace will be out of action for an unknown amount of time. We wish him the best as we have the best doctors in the FWC has to offer. In addition, some good news. Brothers in Arms are officially the number one contenders for the FWWC tag team titles and will face House Mafia for those titles at FWWC SummerStorm. That includes you right there, sweetie. Thanks to everyone for your attention this evening. Last night's aftermath unfortunately spilled into today's agenda. But as they say, the show must go on. Please stay tuned for more updates as they come. CEO Dewan Mill.
All
So,
right.
as
Well,
y'all
you know
heard,
what, Perry? I hope you will continue to join us for at least one more segment, and that is our shoot and shout. And then we do need to get to our guest. Although I'm not seeing him in the back room again.
yeah,
Uh,
he's back here.
is he back there?
Yeah, he's back here.
Okay. So we are gonna hit our shoot and shout segment, and then hopefully we.
It's just one of those days when you don't want to wake up. Everything is fun, everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you want to justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life is on contract. Your best bet's to stay away, motherfucker. It's just one of those days. It's all about the he says, she says bullshit. I think you better quit letting that slip, or you'll be leaving with a fat lip. It's all about the he says, she says bullshit. I think you better.
All right. For those of you who may be new to Wrestle Talk, we just want to let you know this segment that we call is the shoot and shout. And what that is that we give everybody roughly 30 seconds to maybe a minute to just kind of talk about something that is just, you know, got you mad. It can be too much air in a bag of potato chips. It can be, the color of the kid's hair that, pulled out in front of you at the stoplight, whatever it is. And so, you know what, Perry, how about if we let you start us off?
What makes me angry? Well, judgmental people. That makes me very angry. Simply because of the fact that I'm told not to judge because I don't have all the facts. So that's probably it right there. I'm sorry for making it so simple, but that's what makes me angry. Judgmental people.
Okay. All right. I can understand that one. I'm kind of the same way, but there's a lot of people I know that'll tell you that I'm judgmental. But I don't try to be judgmental per se. I like to tell people that, maybe it's God trying to tell you something through me. So, um, okay, looks like I got put there. So, yeah, my shoot and shout would have to be people who, recently, Haas and I, we go to a lot of local promotions here, or well, not a lot, but we do have a local promotion we go to here. Some of you may know, you've seen Haas on Elevation. We go to WDWA. My biggest shoot and shout is probably one of the things that irks me most is people who can't grasp what wrestling's all about. you know um Even though you have a lot going on, the drama is in the ring, and outside of the ring there shouldn't be a lot of drama. And when people are back in the back, they're friends, they're pals. And you gotta remember that sometimes you can go overboard. You can say things to people, and I know it says in the Bible, you should do unto others as you would have done unto you. So if you're going to trash somebody, if you're going to, act a certain way toward people, stop and ask yourself, how would you feel if somebody did that to you? And if you wouldn't like it, or if you didn't wouldn't want to be treated that way, then don't treat somebody else that way. Because sometimes, they say sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you. Sometimes your words can do a lot more damage than you know. And you really should be careful with, you never know what somebody else is going through. You never know what is happening in their life. So before you go trashing some part of their life or someone special in their life, ask yourself how you'd feel in that situation. And that would be mine.
All right, so I guess it's my turn. Mine kind of goes hand in hand with some of that about the judgment. The problem I have is people judging people based on their profession. Uh, if you work and you're making money, and I'm not going to throw this out there being braggy. I'm not trying to say it in a very cocky way, but a lot of people judge and they say, "Oh, well, he's a maintenance guy. He's not making that money." I can almost guarantee you, I make more money than most people do just doing maintenance because I'm skilled. It's a trade. I know what I'm doing. I'm licensed. I know how to make the money. And what bothers me is when people look down on certain professions, like, "Oh, well, he's a maintenance guy. He ought to pick up trash. He's a trash man. He's this, he's that." They don't understand what goes into a lot of people's professions. And I'm not going to sit there and judge somebody that works at a fast food restaurant. I've worked in a fast food restaurant, and I can tell you, I'm not a people person. I'm not a customer like person. Come at me the wrong way, you're going to have food thrown back at you. I was 16 and got fired from McDonald's my very first day because I threw a drink in somebody's face. So I'm not the people kind of person. I'm not going to judge them. I know what they put up with. Even if it's a maintenance guy or a janitor that's literally just sweeping up floors, somebody has to. And the fact that he's doing it because some idiot was too lazy to pick up the wrong trash, or they're too stupid to know what a trash can is, or leaves dirt everywhere and don't know how to clean up after themselves. This person has to do what you're not willing to do yourself. So why are you judging this person? Why are you being ignorant about it? And out here, and the problem I have when it comes to the maintenance field is I'm an electrician, I'm a carpenter. Unfortunately, I get called to do security around here. I get called to do a lot of things, but I am not invincible. And with the situation I'm having with my back, I'm still having people blowing up my phone. They know I'm out of work for a week. They're blowing up my phone, and they're like, "Oh, well, I got uh, a really stupid situation in their apartment," and they're like, "Okay, this is not a maintenance emergency." Some things are not maintenance's job. It's not maintenance job to clean up maggots in your carpet because you don't know how to clean up after yourself. It's not maintenance's job to break up a fight between you and your old lady. I mean, there's so many things that we're expected to do, but yet you're still looked down on. So that's kind of my shoot and shout. And I believe that half the people wouldn't last a day in somebody else's shoes. That's just how that is. I'm not a nurse. I would not try to be a nurse. I wouldn't last a day in my daughter's shoes because she puts up a lot more than I do. Vice versa, you wouldn't last a day in my shoes. You couldn't know half of what I do. So anyway, that's my shoot and shout.
Would you put up that comment that was made? This is a wonderful opportunity. It went by too fast. I don't think people really saw it, but they were complimenting me on my good looks and my charming personality. I know someone's got it.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to put that up. This is an opportunity. This is what I was talking about in the very beginning tonight. I'm judging you, Big Daddy P. Invest in a hairbrush and wash your t-shirt. You're looking dirty. Now, I didn't know I was supposed to look clean to you. I have hair at 55. I'm thankful for the hair that I got. Now, notice Nick Luke, he doesn't even have a picture of himself. Hey, Nick, why don't you change that profile? There's nothing wrong with the picture. I love the Lord, but I want to see what you look like.
He's a law puppy.
Anyone? Bueller. Anyway. All right. I'm going to go back to doing my homework because if you don't do your homework, your home don't work.
There you go.
I've heard that a time or two. Well, we want to thank you for being here tonight. Big Daddy P. It's been a while since we saw you, and we always enjoy having you come see us.
I never say goodbye. I always say until next time. And Nick, I'm going to pray and ask the Lord to not only show himself to you, but let you look in the mirror and just see how beautiful you are to him. Have a good night.
Night, Big Daddy.
See ya.
Oh man. Nick Luke, you just never know when to hush that puppy mouth. I tell you.
Oh man,
But
it's
you know
so
what?
easy.
It has come that time, and I think maybe even a little past. But we have a great guest sitting in the back, and
You couldn't win. So
I'm
that's
looking forward to talking with this guest. He's wrestled for many promotions. Oh my goodness, and he is. I mean, what can I say? Will, what can you say?
I mean, this man is absolutely one of the best that we've had on the show. So we're gonna bring him on here and let him kind of brag about himself for a minute. So everybody, welcome the Falcon, Mr. Bailey Dynamite.
How are you guys
Okay,
doing today?
hey,
Mr.
this is
Dynamite, thank you for being here. Sorry we kept you in the back for so long.
Oh, no
that's easy.
wonder. And it's a pleasure being here.
Awesome. Um, Now you've been wrestling for what, 4 years now?
Okay, so let me fix that. I've actually been on shows for 1 year, but I've been training for about 4 years to get to the point where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Okay.
So what would you say in the time that you've been in wrestling is one of your biggest accomplishments?
Hmm. One of my biggest accomplishments. Well, last year I actually did get my first win in a like outside type of show for Tough Pro Wrestling. I think I went against Anthony Little Thug Nerd, if I'm not mistaken, in a Dayton street fight. And God, I, just thinking about it makes me sore.
How'd you
So
come up
would
with the name Falcon though? Like, 'cause I noticed that, and I'm from Georgia, so obviously I like the Falcon. So how'd you come up with that? What was it? Just something that clicked in your head, or just a style that you went to kind of match the Falcon, or what was it?
Okay, so I used to do before wrestling, I did a little bit of football and amateur wrestling, and I had a lot of speed in both. Like, even my teammates were like, wow, you are super quick on your feet. It is unbelievable. And I thought with my speed, I could match the energy of a falcon, which
Hey,
is one of the fastest birds in the world. I think while they're diving, they're like maybe 255 miles per hour. I don't know if I'm right about that. I would have to look that up. But yeah, that's where the falcon comes from.
yeah. And it kind of fits that persona too. From what I've seen, you've got this going in for the kill kind of attitude, that mentality, and it fits. It really does. It fits that whole Falcon, you know, like stalker deal where you just go for the kill, you take them out, and you're done. So I like that. I like the fact that you use that. That fits.
Okay, so that part that actually comes from my MMA background. Before
Mhm.
wrestling, I did mixed martial arts for a couple years,
Oh,
right right after amateur wrestling. So I got that killer like instincts as you would call it from that because I always trained myself to be the very best.
so who
that
would
works.
you say has been your favorite opponent so far?
Uh that's a hard one. But if I had to choose, it would definitely be Halen Wright, the Little Angel. I
Okay.
mean, he was my biggest rival at the time. We had so many crazy matches throughout our rivalry. I don't know if there's a video on them. I have no idea. But my favorite one was probably our hardcore style I quit match, which is the day I actually introduced my alter ego, the Falcon King, which is a much more sinister version of Bailey Dynamite.
Awesome. Let's do a little rapid fire if you would. Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
John Cena.
John Cena. Okay. Who's your favorite? What's your favorite finishing move?
My favorite is probably the F5.
The F5. Okay. What's your favorite entrance theme?
Ah, okay, so I had to go with Dean Ambrose. I forgot was entrance name was. I think as it was something like unstable, if I'm mistaken.
Yeah, think I think you're right on that one. Yeah. Okay, your favorite city to wrestle in?
So far, definitely Indiana.
Indiana. Okay. Your dream tag team partner?
Like in big times or right now.
E- Either one, whichever one you want to do.
Uh, if I had to choose my dream tag team partner, it would definitely be Eddie Gates.
Okay. All right. And on a day that you might do a cheat meal, what's your favorite cheat meal?
Pizza.
Pizza. Hey, I can honestly say I like that one too. Um, and do you like coffee or energy drinks?
I prefer energy drinks instead of coffee because coffee is kind of like too much caffeine for me personally.
Yeah, I can understand that. Definitely can understand now. Now on July 25th at Cave Pro Wrestling, you'll face Ethan Evans in The Riot Returns. What can fans expect to see?
Well, you'll definitely see a lot back and forth hard hitting action between me and Ethan Evans. Because I don't know if you know this, but he is a big um, deathmatch wrestler from Ohio and Indiana. So I definitely got my work cut out for him because this will be the first time ever him and I ever face each other.
I went to some death matches a few years ago in Wheeling, West Virginia, and there was a gentleman there by the name of Jake Chris, and
Uh,
he was in a tournament a couple nights before the death matches, and every time he came out, him and I would exchange fights. I actually have it on tape where him and I went at it. I had a great time, and
yeah.
he really did put on a great show.
Oh yeah, Jake Chris is definitely a good worker. I the first day I met him was probably the first day I actually started with training with Pile Driver. He basically showed me all the basics and how to do it and what not to do. He was definitely a good basics teacher for me.
Yeah, I've heard he's a really good guy. So yeah,
Oh
but if
yeah.
he's watching, the next time I see him, you know, we're gonna continue that fight. No.
Hey, what got to say? He loves to have a good fight.
Yeah.
I gotta ask the basics though, and that's what I like to do because we got to try to get to know who we're interviewing here, and a lot of us, you said, pretty much the same. But a lot of us that had the background with like the football and or the amateur wrestling. What got you into pro wrestling? What was it that just clicked about it and said, you know what, I'm going to come from this sport to pro wrestling, and that's what I want to pursue from there.
Well, actually, this is a funny story because this is actually when went to like one of the tough shows that were around the corner from one of my fights. A friend of mine actually told me about this place where they do pro wrestling, and I said, "Hey, why not give it a shot? Let me check it out. Let's see what they're about." So I saw a couple like hardcore matches and like some tag team matches, and I'm like, dang, maybe I should be doing this instead of MMA because I thought it was really cool at the time. Now, it all really started when I was 5. That's when I actually started watching wrestling. And I was just amazed by how the people on WWE or is it WWF at the time? I don't know. I don't really know when they switched it, but it was just so amazing what they could do in the ring, in my opinion. Like, I was really amazed on what they could do.
Oh yeah, definitely. So what is it about like? And you're still very new to it. You're still kind of fresh, considered, I guess, more of a rookie getting into it. What is some of the struggles? Like if somebody is interested now, somebody's saying, "Hey, you know what? I want to pursue this. I want to get into it, get into training, get into the showmanship." What are some struggles that you, at this particular moment, being new into the business, that you have that you would like to? touch on or maybe kind of give a heads up to other people like, hey, this is kind of what you need to expect, but this is what you got to overcome? What's some of the stuff that you're struggling with right now?
Uh, Definitely the travel cost right now because it's kind of hard with all the gas prices and stuff going on to like travel to long distance places. Like for example, I want to go to like Michigan for a show, but I don't I can't really afford the gas right now because there is a lot of things going on with the gas prices. Or you gotta find like a place to stay. It's a lot of money to do that. Like it's basically just money wise at the state that I'm at right now.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that to get further into the business, you have to make the sacrifice. You have to travel. You got to be where the action's at. And that was a struggle even I had, was going to the shows, getting my name out there, going to different promotions. And I definitely would say that was a huge struggle even back then. So I know it's a struggle now with the gas prices.
Yeah,
Um,
it's definitely
what,
a
what are
struggle.
some what are some goals you have just not only for yourself in the business, but like say for your career? Obviously, everybody has your typical answers. They want to be a champion. They want to be at the top. Outside of that, what are just some personal goals that you want to overcome and accomplish in your career?
Well, I want to overcome being shy some of the time because I wasn't really used to being in front of crowds. I was incredibly shy when I first started out, and that affected my crowd work because I'm not a big speaker. I'm like Brock Lesnar right now. I'm not good at talking, or or uh, there's another struggle. It's to make sure everyone's safe. You got to make sure everyone's safe. Um, I think it was a couple months ago when I was at Rumble for Tough. I basically beat my leg into the apron because someone threw me out of the ring in the wrong way, and I literally hit the sharpest metal part on my leg, and I could not feel it for a couple days.
Oh man, I think I struggled with being the small guy. Even back when I was in my prime, I barely hit 150 pounds, 160 pounds. So I was the itty bitty guy, and same deal. Just trying to be safe, trying not to get this tossed on my head. So I definitely understand.
Yeah, small guys will struggle too.
Well, you trained under, let me see, it's Sammy, is it Callahan?
Sammy Callahan, the Death
Yeah.
Machine. That's
And
correct.
Ace Austin, right?
Yep.
So what was that experience like? And what was the biggest lesson that each one of them taught you?
Uh, it was definitely a journey, especially with all the cardio Ace would give us. But the biggest lesson would probably be don't get too into your head. Don't be a mark. You wanna the locker room to like you when you're doing shows because if you act like a total jerk and a mark in the locker room, nobody's gonna respect you. Promoters are gonna hate you. You won't get any pushes if you act like that the entire time you're with that promotion. So I wrote that down just so I know what to expect if I when I started wrestling, and I put my pride to the side unless I'm outside actually entertaining people. And look at where I'm at now. I'm with four different promotions, and I am very blessed what they taught me during those training sessions.
Yeah, I noticed that you have competed in, let's see, TPW, XVW, KUW, CPW, and RCWA. What does
Wait,
each, how do they
CPW,
differ? Yeah.
CPW. I don't think I've
Um,
heard that one. Oh,
oh, okay.
Crave Pro. You're talking about Crave. Okay, so
Yeah. So how do
this
they
will
differ?
actually be
And
my debut again when I go against Ethan Evans.
oh, okay. So how do
So
those
we're not there
promotions
yet.
differ and like what's your, do you prefer working for one more than the other, or?
Um, there is one that is actually one of my favorites, and that would have to be RCWA. I mean, the crowd there is like really energetic when they see something they like. They boo the heck out of the heels, which is a good thing when you have a good crowd. And they have a really good sized ring, one I wasn't really used to until I wrestled there. I was used to like I think like a 14 to 16 size ring if I'm not messing that up. But if I had to choose like one I would like to wrestle every time they have a show, it would definitely be RCWA.
And what's been your, like, your, have you had a really awesome fan experience?
Yes, I did. When they brought me in as a heel, and the trash talk I gave them, they literally trash talked me back. Like they would boo the heck out of me or give me a finger. Like they hated me when I first came in, which is exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah, I do that a lot. There's a promotion around here called WDWA, and I'm kind of like that when the guys, like the first time somebody comes, if they're like a heel, like they walk by me and they look at me and they'll say something, and I understand now that the locker room actually points me out to a lot of them, and they're like, that one there will fight with you, and they come at me, and I'll go back at them, and then after the show, they kind of give me like a little fist bump as they leave, and they're like, thanks for your help, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, but yeah, it's great though, because sometimes, these guys, they're there, they're nervous. This is their first time there. And as a fan, I like to make them feel at home. And if they're a bad guy, I like to look at them and go, you suck, and, and they just kind of like, what? And then they'll stand there and jaw with me, and I hope it makes them feel good, and I hope they're like, awesome, you know? So, and I hope it helps get them over with the crowd, but that's always a good thing. So, yeah. Has there ever been an experience with a fan that you thought, man, I do not want to go back there again?
So for you, what comes more natural though, being the face or the heel?
Probably the heel,
Mhm.
honestly,
I love it.
because I'm a big trash talker when it comes to stuff like that. I'm not used to being like the nice guy, like, hi everybody, I'm glad that I'm here, whatever. I'm like, no, I'm not like that. I was like, shut your mouth. I don't care. Is this your hero? Well, he's about to eat my dust in the dirt in the ground. I'm about to put him 6 feet under. Stuff like that. I
Yeah.
like to talk trash more than I like to play nice.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I'm from West Virginia, so we always have, when people come here, it's always like, I can't believe I'm here in inbred West Virginia, and we're like, all right, y'all.
Oh God.
We just, and there's was one guy that was around here a lot, and he actually was on Wrestle Talk one night, and he asked, somebody mentioned me and my brother John, because we're always at the shows, and they said, you guys, John and Susie, right? And he goes, yeah, and I'm just wondering, since they're from West Virginia, hey, if they get a divorce, are they still brother and sister? And I was like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm like, the next time I
Oh
see him, I
jeez.
am gonna hurt him. But
I
now, I
think.
mean, I've seen him a few times since. He's not wrestling anymore, but and he's all right now. But I wanted so bad to hurt him.
Oh man, I think I messed up. Like, and I loved playing the heel. I really did. And I screwed up one time. We had competed at a church, and wasn't thinking nothing about it. And I had went and cut my promo on somebody, and I'd cussed. And the promoter was like, "Hey, you got to watch your mouth. You're in a church." Without thinking, I'm like, "Well, it must be a Methodist church because I just seen half the people get up and go to the bathroom and come back tweaked out." These people were about ready to drag me and beat me, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I got to get out of here like really quick." Yeah, I
Yeah,
just have so
fans
much.
can be ruthless sometimes. I mean, I think at my last RCWA show, so I putting my glasses way too close to a fan, and he literally picked it up and literally spiked my gear.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know if it'll pick up camera, but you can see a little bit of scratch marks right around there, around what
Oh.
they did, where they did it.
Oh, wow.
So how much of yourself do you put into your character, whether it be a heel or face? Just how much of it comes naturally? Like how much of that is really you compared to just kind of put on the image?
Okay, so when I'm a heel, I I literally am being myself because know how to talk the most trash to my opponent or to like the crowd, like saying I don't care about your city. It's like the world's toilet or whatever, I, stuff like that. Yeah. But as a face, I'm not used to being that nice of a guy.
Me
I'm
too.
really not.
Like I felt straight face. I'm like, God, I hate this.
Yeah. So, what is the biggest misconception people have about you?
Um, biggest misconception. Well, when I'm a heel, they think I'm like a jerk in real life. They think I'm the biggest jerk known to man on God's green earth. But but if I'm a face, they they think that I'm just faking it.
I know one of the guys that I talk to from time to time at one of the wrestling groups around here. He he's a heel, and one night he like he kicked a chair and it hit me in the knee. And when things were over with, he came up to me after the show and he's like, "Oh my God," he goes, "Are you okay?" He goes, "I didn't hurt you, did I?" And I looked at him and I was like, "Dude, you are the most baby faced heel I've ever seen in my life." And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Dude, you're not supposed to care if I'm hurt. You're a heel." But then I hugged him and I was like, "You're a sweetheart. I'm fine." But he was like, "No," he goes, "I mean, even though I'm a heel," he goes, "I don't like to hurt people." He said, "And I really was worried I'd hurt you." And I was like, "You're such a baby face heel." And he just laughed at me, and it was, and every time I've seen him since, he just kind of gives me that "I'm watching you" kind of look, and I'm just kind of like, "Yeah, what?" you know so we have a good time. But I think sometimes you kind of just, even with a heel, sometimes you know they say things to you, you say things to them, but at the end of the day you just kind of have to go, "It's all good."
No.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
as wrestling fans, we've all thought about it, especially of us that just dreamed of it. And I gotta ask, WrestleMania main event, your headline. Who is your dream opponent to headline WrestleMania with?
Well, it can't be John Cena anymore. I know that. But if I were to choose, I would have to go Obafemi.
Oh my
Ooh,
gosh.
man,
Now that, yeah, I got to give you that one. I like
yeah.
that. I got to say, that guy's a beast.
I know.
He is. And it's funny because I was watching some show on TV the other night. I believe it was Family Feud or something. And there were these guys that were Samoan. And this one guy come out and I'm like, "Dude, he looks almost like Roman Reigns." And as he's walking to the podium, he's doing the Oba Femming walk. And I'm going, "What is it, a Samoan thing? What is it?" And he's doing that Oba Femi thing. And I'm going, "Dude." But yeah, I mean, it's just funny to me how some of those you see people in everyday things and they're doing stuff and you go, "Hey," and then you think that guy must be a wrestling fan because he's or he'll look at you and go, "Yeah," and you're like, Of course, LA Knight is from the area I'm from. He's about a half hour up the road from me is where he's from. So when people in this area are going, "Yeah," you're like, "Okay, there's an LA fan."
Let me talk to you.
Yeah, exactly. He's awesome. I love him. He's really awesome.
He
But
really is.
yeah, he is. He's a great guy. So Will, you got any more questions?
Yeah, so like how much of an adjustment? How weird is that for you now? Because I mean, you're going to all these different promotions, you're going all of the, different places, meeting different people. People are starting to recognize who you are. You're on a podcast now. We're interviewing you, and a bunch of people is going to watch this, and they're going to know who you are. How much of an adjustment in your life does that make now that people's really starting to know who you are from wrestling? Has it been like a much of a change? Is it just weird going down the street and somebody saying, "Hey, I know you," and then even at these shows, you're walking out and people are responding to you because they know who you are from wrestling. How much of an adjustment is that compared to just normal day life?
Well, I sometimes when I'm actually downtown from my city, some people are like, "Is that Bailey Dynamite over there?" Like,
Mm.
I'm like, "Geez, I didn't even think people in my hometown would know that I'm a wrestler." But here we are today, and I get like a couple people coming up to me asking for like autograph or a picture with me. Like even some of the people's kids ask for it, and I'm just blessed by it every day. I am I'm happy that they watch me. I'm happy that they enjoy the matches I put on for them. I'm just
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
blessed.
I said it earlier tonight, wrestling fans can be fickle. They really can. One minute they're booing you, one minute they're cheering for you, the next minute they want to rip you apart. You know? So it's wrestling fans are so fickle. So if you're out in public and people come up and say, "Hey, I know you. I want to take a picture with you." It's got to be cool because again, fans can be so fickle. And sometimes I think if they see somebody that they would boo at the arena, if they see you like at the 7-Eleven, they're going to come up to you and say, "Hey, I know you." And then they want to take a picture with you, and then they want to brag to all their friends. And it's just, again, they're just fickle.
But they know who you are, though. That's the good thing.
Yeah, that's definitely the different. um Let me see. Now we do a thing here, Bailey, at the Wrestle Talk podcast, and we call it the Game Show Challenge.
Mm.
Now with our Game Show Challenge, what we do is we do 3 trivia questions, and we always ask, if you're gonna, we do the best 2 out of 3 falls. And Ace here seems to think that he is like the bomb at this. Of course, I think the last show I did with you, Ace, I don't think you won.
I'm 1-6 right now, so I mean, I'm bombing all right, but not in a good way.
well, you, well, you haven't met me. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no, there you go. Oh right. Yeah. All right. I'm liking him better now. But we were wondering if you would like to do this game show challenge against Mr. Will up there.
Sure, I'm down.
Awesome.
All
Awesome.
right. I gotta add my
Well,
reasons.
then let me see if I can find, we actually have some music um that goes along with this game show of ours. Let me see if we can find it. Ah, here it goes. Hold on. All right. So let me just say, welcome to this week's edition of the world famous Wrestle Talk podcast game show challenge. Tonight, the contestants are scheduled for the best 2 out of 3 falls and features Will Ace Bromwell, or Bromlow, sorry, and Bailey Dynamite. In a few moments, I'm going to give you information on 3 professional wrestling personalities. And when you think you know who it is, shout out the answer. If you're not right, keep shouting until you get it right, or until we call the question. The first person to win 2 out of 3 falls is tonight's winner. Now, tonight's game show challenge is United States champions. The following people have been the United States champions in the WWE. And when you think you know the answer, just shout it out. So, Before I answer question 1, Bailey, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, Will, are you ready to get your butt whooped?
As always.
So yeah, I'm not sure what his win-loss record is, but I think he's got more losses than wins. But
I'm 1-6 right now. I'm 1-6.
Oh, okay, 1-6. Wow. Well, after this, you're going to be 1-7.
1-7? Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm pulling for you, Bailey. I'm pulling for you. Okay.
I'm getting ready. You don't click as quick as it used to.
Oh, okay. Well, so let's go with question 1. While Canyon brought the United States Championship to the WWF, this wrestler was the first wrestler to win the championship in the WWF ring. Name this former associate of Commissioner William Regal.
Wasn't it Lance Storm?
Pardon?
Lance
No.
Storm?
No, it was not Lance Storm.
I know the group you're talking about too. Come on now, this is right here on the tip of my dang head.
It's not Bret Hart. I know that.
Mm-mm.
Uh,
I'm not sure if it sounds more of an Asian name.
I don't know.
Okay, well we're gonna call this one. It's the name is Tajiri.
Tajiri. Really?
Tajiri.
Oh yeah, I never heard of that one.
Okay.
I always thought Lance Storm won.
I have a bonus question, so we'll try to work the bonus question in. Let's go with question 2. This retired WWE wrestler has held the United States Championship for the most combined days with 426 days. Name this wrestler who has also held the WWE Championship 17 times.
John Cena.
Ah, yes. Bailey got it.
Come on, I'm a big Cena fan.
Well, yeah, and you said that earlier, so I knew you were going to get that one. Okay. So let's go with question 3 and see if we can get the 2 out of 3. Question 3. This WWE Hall of Famer and current AEW wrestler has the shortest United States Championship reign in the WWF, WWE. Name this current AEW Tag Team Champion.
Ricochet.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Who?
It wasn't Edge, was it?
Yes, it was Edge. Adam
Oh,
Cole.
jeez.
I know it was one
Yeah.
of the two.
So that's 1-1. Okay, that just means I got to do the bonus question as a tiebreaker. Okay. So here is the final question. The winner of this one is the winner for tonight. But fortunately for you, Will, it won't be a sweep. There was a 2-year period where the United States Championship had been unified with the Intercontinental Championship in 2003. This late WWE Hall of Famer won the reactivated United States Championship. He would later go on to defeat Brock Lesnar to win the WWE Championship. Name him.
Kurt Angle?
Nope, not Kurt Angle.
No, it wasn't Christian Waugh either. Dang it. He beat Brock Lesnar. Well, you say late, so I mean, obviously, I was thinking Christian Waugh, but he was the United States champion too. I'm trying
It
to
wouldn't
think
be Hulk Hogan, would it?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Shoot. So U.S. title, you would have
He
to
was
say.
once associated with China.
Oh, you're talking about dang it. Oh, Eddie Guerrero.
Yes.
Dang it. I didn't even think about that.
I was trying to think he beat Brock Lesnar.
I was sitting here going like this, guys. I was trying to get somebody to notice.
I know. Well, outside of it, him and Chris Benoit about the same time frame had their little runs, with Brock Lesnar and stuff like that. Honestly,
So,
the U.S. title.
Unfortunately, that means that Mr. Ace won tonight. But that's okay, Bailey, because you'll have to promise us you'll come back again and play him another time.
Oh, most definitely.
And next time you'll beat him. Okay? But before we let you go, And before we say goodbye to you tonight, we would like for you to tell us, number one, your social medias. How can people see you? Where can they, reach you if they want to check you out? And, like what have you got coming up in the next, couple weeks?
So if people want to know where my social medias are, on Facebook, it's Bailey Dynamite. TikTok, it's Bailey Dynamite. Basically, I'm Bailey Dynamite on all social media platforms. They could see me at XVW and RCWA, and this show coming up, Crave Pro Wrestling against Ethan Evans, which is a first time ever match for me against someone. And RCWA, I don't know if I said that already.
No, that was awesome, really. And we want to welcome you to the Wrestle Talk family. You are welcomed back anytime. Anytime you got something going on you just want to promote, please give us a shout, and we'll see if we can work it out. We'll see if we can get you on. It's always a pleasure, and we just wish you all the best. And don't be surprised if you start getting a lot of requests for friends.
I'll keep that in mind.
Okay. So at this point in time, is there anything you want to say to your up and coming opponents? Anything you want to shout out to them?
Yeah. Ethan Evans, I'm going to bury you in the dirt, bro.
There you go. And we want to thank you again for coming on. It's been a pleasure. We've had a great time talking to you. Will, is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Well, thanks again, Bailey, and you have a wonderful night. And we will see you around. We'll be checking out YouTube and all that. You are on YouTube, right? Some of your matches.
Um, yeah, but I put them on private because I have some things going on with the channel right now. Like, I gotta fix it. But I do have a regular YouTube channel. Check me out. It's under BX Factor. That's like a non-wrestling one, but I do post some shorts there time and time again. So check me out.
Awesome.
I have
Awesome.
about 1,700 subscribers on there.
Well, we'll definitely be looking, and I'm sure you're going to get quite a few new ones, from this alone. So we want to thank you again for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being here.
I don't know. Take it easy.
Okay.
Hey, I like
Well,
him.
now, Will, before we go, and we do have one more small bit of business that we have to do. If you know what, I think I just lost. Yeah, we also want to let you folks know. Some of you may remember. First of all, Luke Roberts couldn't be with us tonight. He's got some work things that he's doing, but he did send us along a couple of things. He is also working with the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. So they will be coming up. Is it maybe not next show, but the show after that? I can't remember. One of these shows coming up, we are going to have a couple of representatives from that coming on. So be sure to check us out for that. There is an induction ceremony, the pre-ceremony on July 19th. So be sure to check that out, 12:31 p.m. Eastern. So, check out for more information on that. Just go to Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame and check out that information. And then I think we had one more, didn't we? Oh,
I'm good.
yeah. So, and we do want to thank the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame, who are one of our sponsors here. So, be sure to check out the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame. Again, Will, maybe we ought to check out our sponsors. We can.
All right. So, the Wrestle Talk podcast would like to thank all of our great sponsors: Retro Zone Painter Dream Production, the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, Doomed Outfitters, World Domination Wrestling Alliance, and the FWWP World Premier Fantasy Wrestling Group. Now, guys, this has been a great show. Without all these sponsors, we would not have these shows or our guests or anybody else. So,
And don't forget, next Tuesday, right here, you will see an episode of Elevation with John Haas and a guest of his choosing. It'll either be Dashing Donnie Diablo, who himself was once an FWWC person, or Gavin Jackson. One of the two will be joining John Haas next week to talk about WDWA. And if you have not checked out that show, please check us out because, we are in conjunction with WDWA in the area where Haas and I live in West Virginia. They're a wonderful promotion. They have some awesome wrestlers. They do a lot of great things, and it is just awesome to see. And, Will, I know you've checked out an episode or two of Elevation. So, you yourself know just how awesome it is. And if you would like to check out WDWA matches every Thursday night at 8 o'clock on YouTube, go to Wild Patriot and you can see, oh my God, why does the show just now slip my mind just as I was saying it? Frontline. You can definitely watch Frontline. It's always on, like I said, Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. Go to Wild Patriot on YouTube and check them out. You can see the WDWA matches. And if you're not in an area where you can actually become a huge fan, check it out on Wild Patriots and join us because it's always a good time. And in commentating, you will always hear John Haas and Dashing Donnie. So check that out. And please come back in 2 weeks to see us here on Wrestle Talk Podcast. And I believe 2 weeks from now, it will be Gabe Arsin and John Haas, if they haven't tore each other up between now and then. And if you're a fan of the FWWCs, then you know that John and Gabe are, kind of having their little tete-a-tete. And, I'm going to be soon wiping the mat with that law puppy guy that was in here earlier. And Perry, if you're still listening, I'm going to give him a big slap when I get a hold of him for you. So, and Ace, what have you got coming up in the FWWC? Have you got something coming up soon?
Injury. Injury leave right this minute. I'm not sure what's coming up, and I know I got to take some personal time to get my back healed up, and especially after what happened last night, that was not real fun. I do got to come back and pay these two guys back for that little incident, but yeah, just some personal time, taking some injury time. So
Well, and it's always good to have you back when you come back. Of course, I have to say that because I'm a nice person, but
yeah.
but anyway, for me, Susie Haas and the badass American diva. Hi. And hopefully for you, Will, we would like to say thank you for episode 457.
57. That's right.
Yeah, wow, 3 away from 460. I mean 560. Wow. So we're climbing, and hopefully, very soon we'll be getting close to that 550th mark, and who knows what we may have going on for that show. It's hard to tell,
Oh man.
but
All right.
yeah, but 557 is in 557, yeah, 547 is in the books. Is in the books, and we want to thank you guys for hanging out with us, and we want to say thank you to all our sponsors, all our fans. Thank you to Renee the Night Owl. Peace and chicken grease, my man. And Will, anything you want to leave the fans with?
No, I think that's it. Because I think if we extend any more than this, they're gonna cut us off here.
Yeah, I think it's probably close to that.
Oh man.
All
All right.
right. It's been a pleasure, and we will see you folks next time.